Welcome, Silvia. Thank you so much for joining us on the Beyond Barriers podcast. We are thrilled to have you. I am fascinated by your background and your expertise in happiness. I mean, that even just talking about it makes me happy. So, without further ado, let's dive in and share your journey of, who Silvia is, how you started focusing on the area of happiness, and how you aligned your career to really leverage that.
Thanks so much. It's really a pleasure to be with you and all the audience today. So thanks for that question about my journey. So first of all, I was not a believer in happiness at all at the beginning. I was trained from a young age to rely always on what you can see and touch and prove, and be hard, do the numbers, be tough, because I was a woman and I was going to enter a world of men. So I was not at all on the happiness side. I was trying to prove to the world that I was, a professional, and in my mind that went along with being serious and
Uh-huh.
tough, probably. So I was far away from the happiness world until I started to work in marketing, and marketing little by little approached me from knowing consumers, why people do what they do, why people fall in love with brands with others, why people are stick to using same things or not, how do they make decisions, and little by little started to know a little bit more about why we do what we do.
Mhm.
And if you start knowing what we do, you end up knowing that we do what we do, or we take decisions because we think that those decisions are going to make us happier.
Mhm.
So started to think, well, there's something that happiness seems to be important in people's life. Also, I'm trying not to open my mind and my heart to happiness. And curiously, when I was in this process of thinking, it seems to be important, but I don't really want to know much about it. I was working for the Coca-Cola company in Spain, and the president of Coca-Cola Spain had a vision that Coca-Cola was a brand about happiness, joy coming together. And he said, what if we created a hub of knowledge about happiness? And, we could reach out to all the researchers and know really profoundly what researchers have found about happiness. And that blew my mind. I said, what?
Wow.
There
Yeah.
are researchers about happiness? It's a serious matter? Oh my, I want to get into that. If this is serious, if there's research behind it, if they have learned what it is, how we can do things to be happier, I want to know then about it. Then it's serious. So I am entitled to learn about it. And I was really, really honored to be given that project to be named director of the Happiness Institute of Coca-Cola.
Wow.
And for many years, that allowed me to learn from expert in many many sciences how you can do things to be happier, to
Mhm.
be a leader that's positive, to make decisions that are just decisions that are going to make you happy, everybody happy, and that are going to get better results in companies. So it was all like every piece was fitting, and I could
Uh-huh.
finally work in happiness, being serious and
Uh-huh.
proven and scientific, and giving people tips that really work. So that's my journey.
That is a fantastic journey, and I think that was such a profound vision that you mentioned that the Spain CEO had about happiness and how that could create a movement in a sense, right? And then what a privilege for you to be able to give that the role of like leading this movement of around happiness. So tell me a little, you get this big role and it's about learning about happiness and sharing that story with with people. um, did you have any fears or limiting beliefs, like how am I going to do this, and how did you get past that?
all the time. Yes, yes, because the first thing is that you're given a you're given a project, you're passionate about it, you say this is fantastic, this is what I want to do, I want to share with the world, um, how what it takes to be happier, how can you do it, and then you reach out to these very well known researchers that have written a lot of books, are on TV all the time. Martin Seligman, Tal Ben Shahar, people in the happiness world, very well known. You reach out to them, you learn from them, and then you're supposed to tell people their learnings. And who are you to be giving tips to others, compared to these people you look up? So yeah, I had a lot of time and years, a feeling that I was not the right person or entitled to do so. But
Mhm.
you have to know that why not you,
Mhm.
and that maybe people you're going to talk to know even less than you know. Than you
Uh-huh.
know. So why not you? And I think women in general, we get very well prepared before we do anything. We always
Yeah.
have that fear that it's not enough, that
Right.
we need to do more. But if I look around me and if I look at my own experience, before I gave any speech, I really prepared it. I really went out to all the researchers, read the papers, read the books, prepared hours and hours for every 1 hour speech that I gave. And still,
Uh-huh.
I give lots of speeches. At least I think I prepare it for 20, 30 hours
Mhm.
of preparation. So, yes, you have that feeling, but
Mhm.
you have to live with it. It's not going to disappear. At least in my case, I
Right.
still have it. So you just need to, live with it and think, I can live with it. Although I think it's not enough, it is enough. So
Right. So it's
just
that
do
I
it.
I love that the preparation, knowing that you've prepared, you have, you are ready, and knowing that it's enough. Like you have prepared, and it's that evidence that you've had that, over the course of the years, for every presentation, every hour long speech, you've been prepared and you've done it. And I think it's a little it's healthy. I think sometimes that little bit of fear, that anxiety, because it keeps you on your toes. Um, so we talk a little bit about, and you've studied this idea of happiness. What are the keys to happiness? Because I feel like we work with lots of women on the keys to success, but I really do feel that the keys to happiness are probably very much aligned and work parallel with the keys to success.
I'm sure. I'm sure that if you prepare with the keys of success and the keys of happiness, they help each other. In fact, when you look at researchers look at people, they see that happiness and success go hand in hand, and
Mm,
it's usually people might think, well, yes, of course, when you're successful, you're happy, but it looks from research that people taking the skills of happiness and enjoying the path to success end up being successful and happy. So
mm,
you can find many people that learned only to be successful and they ended up successful but not happy. But it's weird that you find happy people that became successful and lost that happiness. It looks
right.
like happiness helps success also. And what we teach people positive leadership, how to be a leader that creates happiness for you, for the others,
Mhm,
and brings success. It seems that probably some of the tips are very similar.
mhm,
Yeah, success and happiness go along and can go along. For some
mhm.
people trained in that, old idea that success is something you get on your own, is solitary, you have to be tough, and as the price of success is being on your bubble all alone. Well, those end up probably very unhappy. But no, happiness and success can go alone and should go alone. And you should be happy, successful, and create happiness and success all around you as well.
Right.
So,
Making
yeah.
it
So you'd ask me about the tips.
yes.
So some of the tips for happiness, some are very, very easy, like treat you well. First of all, be kind to yourself. As you said,
Mhm,
it is normal to fear or to be stressed in some situations. It's not that you are not capable, it's not that you're not enough,
Mhm.
is that it's normal because you care about what you're doing. If you're stressed and if you fear not to be enough, it's because you care about the audience, about the client. You want to deliver the best, and that's why you fear not to be as good as you hope to be.
Mhm.
But it's just that stress because you care very much. So
Mhm.
you should not fear that as stress. You should take it as a voice that is telling you this is important to you.
Mhm.
Now, girl, go there and prepare it very well and do your best. And that's enough.
Right.
So be kind to yourself. That's one of the things that are tips for being happy, and also allow yourself to be unhappy. Also, so being tips to be happier is not to be searching to be happy all the
Mhm.
time. Happier means doing things to improve,
Mhm.
but you should not expect life to be perfect
Mhm.
and a life to be continues of happy moments all the time, because that's not life.
Mhm.
Life
Right.
are challenges, and what we know right now, lots of challenges that you didn't expect,
Mhm.
lots of things thrown up to you, and just thinking, okay, it's okay not to be well, not to be
Mhm.
happy at times. um, Recognizing that you're not feeling well is the first step to them be able to feel well,
Mhm.
because going to our researchers, what I learned from them is that in our brain we use the same path, the same connections for the negative emotions and for the positive emotions.
Mhm.
So when people try not to feel bad, when they try to avoid the bad feelings, the bad thoughts, um, they shut down that channel, and
Mhm.
it's the same channel that the one that brings you happiness and good emotions. So
Mm.
when you
Okay.
really are close to, I don't want to feel that, I don't want to think about that, then you are closing the path also to feeling well. So when you feel bad, you feel bad, and that's human, and we all have those moments.
Mhm.
Then acknowledge it, reach out to someone. That's the third advice that I would say
Mhm.
to others, is that happiness is always a matter of more than one person. So
Mhm.
when you feel bad or when you feel good, sharing it is going to make you feel better. And others, or if others can help you, or if they can share your happiness, it's going to make them happier as
Mhm.
well. So share it. Whether it's the how you feel, you always, you know, um, you should always try to have a couple of people you can count on
Mhm.
and care, and devote some time to nourish those relationships,
Mhm.
because there's a study made by at Harvard University, the longest study on happiness, and they've had in that study various presidents of the United States.
Mhm.
They have had people who were poor and became rich, people
Mhm.
who were rich and became poor. Any, it's more than 70 or 80 years, and the most common point of the happiest in
Mhm.
that study is that they can always count on a couple of friends to
Mhm.
tell the good and the bad. So when you know that people, you can tell them when you're not good and they're going to help you, that's
Mhm.
very important. But also people that will be glad for you when things go good. There's some
Right.
people that only want to hear about you when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Those are not are they good, not no good friends.
Right.
People who care about you enough to help you if things go wrong, and to be really celebrating when things go right for you, when you're happy. So those are three very general tips.
Uh-huh.
Then we help companies or people to work on every ingredient of happiness,
Mhm.
happiness in general, or happiness at work. There are 8 pillars or 8
Mhm.
components that sourced by what science and scientists have found
Mhm.
contribute to happiness. And I'll just name them very
Yes,
briefly.
I'm gonna take notes. So.
Yeah, so first, in your life in general, try to find a little bit of a healthy balance and engagement. So
Okay.
I know you have many women in listening to us. So women especially, we tend to be over engaged
Mhm.
we tend to be very hard workers, and we give ourselves 100% in 3 or 4 fields, so that we've ended up being 400%
Right.
involved in families and children and companies or organizations, fitness. We try
Right.
to do everything. Having a kind of a healthy balance in your life is pretty important.
Okay.
So as you said about the stress, don't over worry about stress. Stress somehow means that you care about things,
Mhm.
but being stressed all the time is not good. So try to recover. Try some little moments to recover. And Tal Ben-Shahar, which is an expert on happiness that gave some classes in Harvard, found that even just breathing
Mm.
profoundly once, even once a day,
Uh-huh.
can make a big difference. So
Mm.
just find even breathing, sometimes really good breathe
Uh-huh.
can help. So that's the first. Another one is cultivate your autonomy,
Mm.
and that's very important. Even for women working on middle
Mhm.
in the middle. They usually have a lot of requests, and they feel that they have to fulfill that, and they feel sometimes less autonomy to really pursue, do what they should be doing,
Mhm.
etc. So try to cultivate your autonomy.
Mhm.
Talk to your boss if you can, to say, I would like to do things this way. That
Mhm.
gives you a sense of control and autonomy. So try to cultivate autonomy in the areas that you can.
Mhm.
That's the second, because when we crave for autonomy as
Mhm.
human beings, so we need to find it some way, somehow. So
Mhm.
find some kind of autonomy. Then find purpose in what you do.
Yes.
That's amazing when you can find your purpose in life and you can do something aligned to it. That's
Mhm.
amazing. So ask, if you don't have a purpose yet, ask around you, those who know you, well, why do you like me? Why are we friends? What do you like about me?
Mm.
Usually when they tell you, well, you're someone we can always rely, or I can always rely on you, or you give me really good advice, or they will tell you something very profound about you.
Mhm.
That's kind of your purpose in life.
Okay. I
And if
love
you
that.
think
Yeah.
about you and
Uh-huh.
your purpose, you
Mm.
probably find that you've been always someone that people could count on. You've been a good connector with people. You've
Mhm.
been good in giving advice, and you end up giving advice to so many women.
Mhm.
Similar in my case. So if you don't know your purpose, ask others.
Mhm.
Or if you don't really have a purpose, at least find what you are good at and
Mhm.
try to use it at work.
Okay.
Your skills, your things that really make you who you are. Try to use them at your work. That's very similar in terms of being satisfied with a purposeful job.
Mhm.
So that's the third one. Then another one is try to have a little bit of pleasure. Allow yourself some little pleasures in life,
Mhm.
just some.
Yes.
Very easy, that one. Then the next one would be find recognition, not
Mm.
only external, but also when we said be kind to yourself, also recognize the things you do good. We're very tough with ourselves. We judge ourselves,
Mhm.
with a very, very high standards. Um, being try to be kind, recognize what you're good at, and also search others to tell you what you're good at and how you can improve. People who tell you kindly the things you could be improving. So
Mhm.
if you have a mentor, that's fantastic. Everyone should have a mentor, especially women should have
Yes.
a mentor. So yeah, ask your mentor what you do good and how you could get even better. Then um, try to have great experiences around you at least every day. Try to end up the day doing something good for you, something that feels good. Daniel Kahneman, who was a
Mhm.
Nobel Prize, won the Nobel Prize with study that showed that the last experience that you have in your
Mhm.
day with someone is going to be the one that is going to create a memory positive or negative in your
Mm.
mind, even if you have had a bad day.
Mhm.
Try to finish it with a good thing, whatever is good for you. It can be meditation or yoga or relaxing or reading, whatever is good for you. Try
Mhm.
to end up wrap the day with something good, because that is going to leave a memory that compensates the bad a little
Uh-huh.
bit and makes you more relaxed and satisfied.
Mhm.
um, Almost finishing the
Uh-huh.
social support. So get, get social, meaning your
Yes.
friends, get a network
Mhm.
to help you at work, connect with others. That's very important, the support that we get from
Mhm.
others. And finally, um, keep growing. Keep growing
Yes.
all your life. You can't stop. We need to learn and grow. So keep learning and growing. That's part of being satisfied and feeling that this is worth it. We need challenges, and we need to, when we overcome a challenge, we learn something, and
Mhm.
then we feel that we can recognize ourselves, or others
Yes.
can recognize. It's all linked. So find challenges, and learn from them and grow. And that's all.
That is
If you do that.
fantastic. I'm so excited. There are so many of these that resonated with me, and it's very much aligned with what we also, coach a lot of our mid-career women about. And what really resonated with me is finding recognition and celebrating your accomplishments and celebrating yourself. Because I think that's one things that women tend to shy away from quite a bit is that art of self-promotion, and not getting the acknowledgement or the validation that they're doing a good job. So I would love just to hear from you personally. How do you celebrate yourself? How do you find that recognition for yourself?
Well, I like many, I still need to share it with someone that tells me, yes, you should you should.
Uh-huh.
Still doubt, like, was it really good? Did I did that speech really, really well?
Uh-huh.
So I still ask for permission sometimes to recognize myself, but I try to write down what I
Mm.
did good. I
Mhm.
try, after I do something, I try to write down a couple of things I think I really did well. I think I
Mhm.
can really be satisfied on these, or at least if the outcome was not as I expected, at least I can say, well, I did this, and I prepare it really well, or this or that. So I try to write it down a little bit, because it's as if you were writing a letter for someone else, as if you were talking to someone else. Sometimes, like, getting that distance with yourself, thinking, if it was not me, if I was, talking about someone else,
Uh-huh.
because you're so hard with yourself sometimes that, okay, if it was not me, what would that person say about what I just said?
Yeah.
So that's how I try to. Yeah.
I love it. It reminds me of, I heard someone recently say, talk about yourself like you were your best friend.
Oh, that's
So,
great. Yeah.
yes. So like you're
Yeah.
saying, how would you talk about yourself if you were telling somebody else, giving
Exactly. Or if you did a really, really, really a fan, usually your mother. So if it was your mother.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. The other point that you made was that, just that social support and network, but then also, like you said, having those people in your network who are going to be your cheerleaders. How do you develop those relationships? How have you in the past developed a network of people around you?
Well, I would say my case, and maybe that's the case of some of the listeners, I needed to dare to ask.
Mhm.
I waited I lost a lot of years just thinking someone is going to realize that I did a good job. Someone is going, because I did a good job. I made this launch in marketing, it was a success, and I'm just going to sit down and wait that celebration, like people come to celebrate. And it was not happening. So you have to be brave and ask for help, ask
Mhm.
someone. Really, I need someone like you with experience to tell me and help me navigate, to tell me what I should do. I would like to do this and that, and I don't know how to get there.
Mhm.
Could you help me? Could you tell me what I'm doing right, what I should change? So you really need to dare to ask someone to mentor you, or to tell you, how to navigate things. And in my case, I was very lucky that my husband told me dare to ask the person you think is right. And I really went very, up in Coca-Cola at the
Uh-huh.
time, to reach out to someone in the United States, you know very in the top, and tell her, I have this project and I am passionate about it. I think it would make sense to have it globally, from Spain to the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how you do that in a company such, so big.
Yes.
And she saw that I was passionate about it, that I cared, that I had been preparing it, and it was very, it could be really something good for the company. And she helped me go to Atlanta and become a global director for the Happiness Institute.
Wow.
But it was like, oh, should I, how am I going to make this woman lose time with me? Who am
Uh-huh.
I?
Right.
So
Getting past all that. So I think that's so profound, of dare to ask. And
dear
yes,
task.
all those like seeds of doubt and like, who am I to go ask for her time? But you
Yeah,
brave and you dared to ask. And then look what came of it, right? The opportunity
exactly.
presented itself. That's amazing.
Yeah, the worst thing that you can get is, no, I'm sorry, I cannot help you, I don't have time. Then
Mhm.
you're the same that you were before. You
Yes.
haven't lost anything. And magically, that person can help you. And I'm sure that it happens more, more times that people want to help you
Mhm.
than they say no. I'm sure.
Yes. So one of the other points you made, number 6, was end with a great experience in your day, no matter
Yeah.
what. And so for me, that was, want to just pick your brain a little bit on tips that you can share on overcoming failures and setbacks. So, when we have that failure, that setback, and we get down and we're unhappy, you leveraging your point of end with a great experience. What does Sylvia do in those moments?
Probably like anybody else, I go through frustration, feeling guilty. What did I do wrong? Like,
Uh-huh.
you go through all that, and you have to go through all that until you reach the bottom, and then
Uh-huh.
you go up.
Uh-huh.
But go as quickly as possible through all that. So write it down, tell it to someone. The quicker you go through the bad stuff, so the
Uh-huh.
bad, okay, what I did wrong, why did this happen to me, the normal stuff we all tell ourselves, go quickly through that. We need to
Uh-huh.
go through that. But then, okay, look at it and say, what did I learn? What did I do wrong? Because we do things wrong. So what did I do wrong? How can I use that not to do that again? How can I change that so I learn something and do it better next time?
Uh-huh.
So start thinking in terms of, the path. This will allow me to learn something useful for the future, or
Mhm.
at least not to do the same a second time or
Mhm.
a third. Sometimes we do it twice.
Right.
So at least a third time. But think about the learning, and how you can use it to, um, go to a better place, to improve. And that growth ingredient that we said, we keep growing and learning. And in order to learn and grow, you need to fail sometimes. There's no learning if you
Mm,
don't dare, if you don't have challenges that are bigger than you. So
right.
you have to dare, and then fail, go through the bad very quickly, and then, okay, what did I learn? How can I use these for to do that better the next time?
Mhm.
Or maybe, how can I help others not to do the same thing? How can I
Mhm.
use my failures, my struggles,
Uh-huh.
so others don't do the same? Like, you're sharing with so many women,
Mhm.
uh, teaching them, the ingredients of success. That's fantastic. So at least help other.
Mhm.
So that will make you feel much better very quickly, to have that growth mindset of, okay, life is learning all the time. And when you fail, is because you're trying something valuable that's hard,
Uh-huh.
and it's probably not the first or the second time that you're going to succeed. Keep trying, keep learning, and success will come.
Fantastic. That's so insightful. So I know that our listeners love this question of what are the daily habits? So what is Sylvia's daily ritual that helps you in your success and happiness?
Mm. Well, I love rituals. I have many, many, many,
Uh-huh,
and I don't keep them. I change sometimes. I don't do them all the time. Because
uh-huh,
one of the things about happiness is that when we get used to something,
uh-huh.
it loses the charm. It loses the capacity
Okay, yes.
to bring us happiness. So if you do the same thing every day, little by little we lose the effect to
Uh-huh,
bring that joy or that moment of happiness to you. So I vary a lot. I have lots of things that I love to do.
uh-huh.
One of the things that I really try to um, include in my routine is some time to exercise, because
Mm,
one of the things, we're humans that we really need is exercise, whatever you call it. It can be walk, it can be running or yoga, but we really need it, and we forget that our physical needs are
uh-huh.
very important. So I really try to include that. I try to sleep enough.
Mhm.
We are depraved of
Yes.
sleep everywhere.
Uh-huh,
We've never slept so little in this
mhm,
century. It's amazing. So really try to get a little bit more. I'm still progressing on learning there,
uh-huh.
failing every day, but still progressing.
Uh-huh.
So I try to sleep more, a little bit more. And I also try to have some quality time with the people I love, with my husband
Mm,
and my kids. I try to get away from everything that is going to interrupt the phone, the email, the temptation to open a book or anything. I
uh-huh.
get away from all temptations, and I try to really listen to them. Even,
Mm,
magical moments, maybe it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but those moments are precious. You really create bonding, and, you give to
mhm.
someone the gift of listening, and that's quite powerful for them and for you.
Yes.
So those, then I love a glass of wine and
There you have it, yes.
rituals like that. Some cheese, but I vary very much.
Yeah, I love that. Variety, I think for me is something that really does bring joy to me, just that when I do try to do something and I do it too long, or it does lose that joy or that edge.
Yeah.
So variety, I love that idea of variety, but also love the magical moments that you create as well. So I think those are beautiful, in a sense. And then finally, you talked about keep growing, learn and grow. And, we are in this business of really helping women accelerate their success, especially in the digital age. So, what are some tips that you do in order to keep growing and learning? Like, what is it that you do to make sure that you're staying ahead of the curve and continuing to be successful?
Well, we live in a world right now where we have the privilege of having so many different sources to learn.
Mhm.
It's amazing. So I would definitely listen to your podcast. that's
Yes, thank you.
that's definitely, I count on learning a lot there, but also, of course, reading. There's
Mhm.
so many insights and things, profound thoughts that you get from reading. And when I say reading, I mean anything you love reading.
Mhm.
It's not just about books and business and success and happiness and this or that I read, but it's also the classical literature that
Mhm.
have, if you love marketing, all the insights in marketing have been written before by Shakespeare and Victor Hugo and
Uh-huh.
others. So they were amazing. So read the classics, read the new book,
Uh-huh.
read anything. Connecting the dots is one of the best ways to learn. So
Yes.
everything counts. If you get too narrow, you get always the same kind of ideas. Being able to go into different fields, whatever fields you like, the
Mhm.
art, music, different fields make you and your neurons create new connections, and you're going to bring all that into what you do, and you're going to be more creative
Mhm.
and successful. So when I mean, when I say growth, I mean in everything you like, and also trying things that you didn't know before that you would like, trying
Mhm.
something new because of
Uh-huh.
that variety. That's really good. Like I hate soccer, I don't like it,
Uh-huh.
but my husband is a fan of soccer, so
Uh-huh.
he took me against my will once to watch a soccer match,
Uh-huh.
and I cried. did not expect such a burst of all those people together, um, crying and shouting for their team. That's an energy, and I'm very sensitive to
Uh-huh.
that energy. And the emotional overcame me, and I was really wow. And I look at soccer with different eyes right now.
Uh-huh.
But even things that like are not your favorites, try them. Just try. There
Mm.
will be probably something new there that you can bring as an experience, as a story that makes you who you are. And
Yes.
there's a little seed of a learning there that you will use eventually. So be very open to the things that are around you. They will all make you grow. Try new things, enjoy different things, and use anything, like everything around, videos, tech talks,
Mhm.
podcasts, and all that.
That's so insightful. And again, it's that variety of just keep learning things that,
Yeah.
you don't think are aligned and you will find those connections. I think that is a fantastic piece. I mean, I remember my mother used to always tell me, don't knock it before you try it. Like, and she would talk about anything from food to, like you said, a book or some sort of subject. But you do find those connections, or it sparks a new idea that you're like, oh, they did it this way, how can I incorporate it over here in what I'm doing? I think that is fantastic. It does create that creativity sometimes that brings just an expanded frame of reference, and I think that is such profound advice. Well, Sylvia, thank you so much for giving us your time. This has been such an amazing conversation. And I love the 8 points, the 8 tips on happiness. And I know that our listeners are going to be, rewinding and listening and writing these down. And I know that they're going to want to follow you some more and understand what it is that you do and learn more from you. So what's the best way for our audience to get in touch with you?
Oh, well, I would love, if they reach out to me, love to connect with women, men interested in this field. So they can reach me at, www.phillogic.com.
Okay.
They have my email there. My email is sg@phillogic.com.
Uh-huh.
And also, if they're interested about, are they happy or not at work? We
Mhm.
have in the website a free index of happiness at work that takes
Wow.
into account all these ingredients. So,
Uh-huh.
are they living or experiencing these ingredients at work? So
Mhm.
it's free questionnaire that they can take online, and they will get the results directly into their inbox. So if you're interested, you want to go and visit
Mhm.
Feel Logic, you'll find it there.
Fantastic. We'll be sure to put your website and all that information on our show notes on our website. And again, thank you so much for your time. This has been a pleasure.
Oh, to me too. Really, I had a great time, and thank you so much for what you're doing. It's fantastic.
Thanks.